The Friday Funkin BETADCIU scene rose up to be a majorly appreciated subgenre of the game, but is now slowly crashing down due to the lack of creativity and missing the integrity of what a BETADCIU is supposed to be. Let me explain. I've been making BETADCIU'S myself for a really long time now. I haven't been around since the very start, but 2 to 3 years I feel like makes me qualified enough to talk about this considering my circumstances. It initially started as a very niche concept and wasn't too advanced, starting with Blantados, but made mostly by the people we know today as the Neo Gang. While a handful of them don't make BETADCIU'S as much or make them at all anymore, they are still a good point of reference for this topic. I myself noticed that the creativity for BETADCIU'S were very lacking and the community was kinda just accepting whatever was in front of them. I saw that personally as a call to action, so I decided to up the ante. And so I did. I made BETADCIU'S that were overall universally loved. Had IGN given me a rating, they probably would have given me a 3 out of 10, considering what they rated Mario and Luigi Brothership, but overall, it was met with positive feedback. It was something new and something people liked. Fast forward about a year, and we see the community learning from people like me who did coding, or people like AG Covers who animated their BETADCIU'S, and so on. This was an awesome way to keep developing BETADCIU'S as a whole and give people some delicious ass food to feast on for whenever people did upload.
Finally, some good fucking food.
They learned from existing creators and transformed them into their own creative expression. The problem though arises ever since around the time when Mario's Madness came out. Or at least that's when it was most noticeable. There's an influx of people deciding to do things that make BETADCIU'S feel like slop rather than something fun to watch and listen to as a whole experience. Unfortunately, people who animate BETADCIU'S are the main perpetrators of this. We're seeing covers use many characters at once, and I mean many. We're talking 20 plus at once in one turn or one segment, and it ruins the integrity of what a BETADCIU is. Because of the fact that it's supposed to be a everyone sings. When there's that many characters at once, you can't tell who's singing. It's just the pure melody of the song, which you might as well watch the original OST video for that experience. This is mostly seen in people who do editing for BETADCIU'S instead of coding, as it's easier to pull off than in coding, hence it almost feels like it's a bit of an overcompensation of sort. There's also the case of people deciding to shake the camera violently like a magnitude 10 earthquake for no reason in so many instances, which makes the visuals overwhelming and annoying to look at. Many of these cover creators have missed the memo of the game being a music-based game, and we've now deviated from focusing on a good mix of music balancing and creative picks to overloading the visuals to overwhelm viewers' brain to make it seem insanely epic because there's so much going on at once. There are the moments where this can absolutely apply. Having the camera shake with characters with a strong voice, like for example Ballistic Witty, that's a brilliant idea, and I'm not against it. Having many characters in quick succession, that works for things like Game Breaker, as seen in this video made by Danny, another good friend of mine. Now let me be clear here. I have also been a person who did this similar thing, which should be up on the screen currently, so I know what it's like. The insane camera bopping, the insurmountable amount of characters on screen at once. I've been there. This can very much be a coder's problem as well, which was also seen with a very highly respected coder BETADCIU maker, Junior Sorio, when he collabed with Saucy, as well as Danny, who I mentioned earlier, in his Silly Billy BETADCIU, which he himself has reached out and told me it's something he himself isn't extremely proud of and has gone past that in his career of sorts. You can make fast-paced songs like Expurgation, Game Breaker sound good and look good at the same time, without overloading the visuals to the point where you can't tell what's going on in the gameplay and you constantly have to pause to see what character is singing and how transitions are used. Needless to say, I myself took a look at my work of foolhardy D-sides, as I showed an example of earlier, and realized, hold on a minute, this is quite overloaded, maybe I need to step it back a notch, pull myself back down to earth, and make a more bearable experience for the audience. And so I did. You don't need to make something slow and boring, but you also don't need to make something extremely overly visually stimulating. There should be a balance to things. Simple as that. A big sub-problem of this is that a lot of people look up to AG Covers and Saucy, which inherently isn't a problem. These are great people we're talking about. Great friends of mine, very supportive, the whole package, they're awesome. The problem is that viewers will follow in their footsteps, but in a bad way. Everyone feeling like they need to do an overabundance of characters and turns, shaking the camera violently where it doesn't make sense, and so on because they feel like that's what works and that's what people want, since it does get views. This loses what was once a great charm of BETADCIU creators being creative and entering the scene with their own ways of covering songs and opening up with creative minds like many people have. We're seeing a bunch of the same content everywhere, really. On the topic of competition between BETADCIU creators, this is a topic that I have personally been very mad about because you will have many people say that they don't initially care about rankings, they don't support rankings, whichever it may be. Yet these same people will promote rankings such as 8-Hours' BETADCIU rankings, which by definition is a competition as you give placements. This can make many people demotivated to make BETADCIU'S themselves as only the higher named people get paid attention to, while there are many people out there with lower sub counts, lower average view counts, who make amazing content with their own creativity, their own styles, among other things. Yet they don't get talked about as much, because they're not in these rankings. I will make another thing clear, ranking BETADCIU'S is not inherently a bad thing. People can do whatever they want. Personally, I have nothing against it. Some people like being ranked, others don't. The problem arises when people contradict themselves and sound hypocritical when they don't support ranking BETADCIU'S and turn into a competition, yet will promote whenever they themselves are on a ranking video that people make, the most known being 8-Hours' rankings. Now we also get to a major gripe of mine, and that's when it comes to crediting people. Crediting people has always been a problem no matter where you go. This is not exclusive to FNF BETADCIU creators. There will be things that slip through the cracks in terms of people not being credited for things. I have miscrediting people myself, and that's fine. It can happen. You just correct them, and they can edit a description to credit the person that needs to be credited, and you move on. Now, I can't confirm this to 100% certainty. The main problem regarding crediting is that once a person publishes something and it misses being credited once, they fail to even try and credit the person in the future. Now, I can only speak from my personal experience. Maybe there are some people who can feel they relate to this, but a major example is a fan-made covered chromatic I made with a person named Frody way back. I publicly asked for at least me to be credited when using chromatics that I made, specifically the Cuphead chromatic, as that one is used quite globally, yet it seems that people have ignored that request or simply been spread around on Discord without saying where the original source came from. This happening in a video or two, here or there, isn't the end of the world, right? You're not gonna cry about it all day. But when it happens to such a degree where you have 9 out of 10 people using something you made without credit consistently over the course of many covers, that gets to you. To bring up a different perspective so you don't believe I'm just glazing myself here, the mod Doki Cross Takeover, right? Longtime fans will know that it's a bit of a dead mod now as I haven't been doing much work with it. That's my fault, but that's besides the point. A specific asset that many people use is this platform asset showed in this video. Mind you, it's not just this video, there are many examples of this out there. This was a custom sprite sheet made by me for a mod that one of my good friends EG100 made. People have taken this asset and used it without crediting either me, EG100, or the main mod where the sprite came from. Now, I could personally care less about being credited myself for such a thing like this. The issue is that EG100 is such a monumental coder in the scene and has done so much, yet his name doesn't get recognized because nobody credits him, and that is diabolical. For Doki Cross in particular, I sat back and watched as EG100 coded it all since I didn't know how to code at the time. So the work was all his, with me making the covers and editing sprites. Yet he gets no recognition for the work he's done for the community, and that genuinely makes my blood boil because the work he puts in needs to be recognized, but nobody knows because no one credits him. This again happens when people get an asset, shared around, and doesn't give context to where it's from, who made what assets, chromatics, whatever it may be. To end this off, I really like these people: AG, Saucy, Junior Sario, Danny. Basically, the people I've mentioned in this video. They're awesome to hang around with, have great sense of humor, they are super nice overall, supportive, and they do deserve the best. Absolutely, without a doubt. But I am looking at this from a content creator perspective who's been there in the BETADCIU scene since the start, as one of the people who initially brought up the scene from the Neogang covers, which most people now consider to be quite mediocre. Seeing it fall like this with a lack of creativity, missing the aspect of what a BETADCIU is supposed to be, and missing the point of the game being a music-based game, really does sadden me. I hope this could be a wake-up call to many BETADCIU creators, visualizer creators, editor creators, and coders alike. We need a good balance of these things, and we are straying off that balance as it stands today. If there are things you want to personally comment on, maybe something I didn't touch on or something you need more context for, feel free to put a comment on this video and I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you as long as we can have a level-headed conversation and not go attacking each other. That's about it. See ya.